what I'm going to do right now, we're going to curtail this discussion, and I'm going to bring on our special guest for the evening. So excited to have him here, the Greek god Papadon, the greatest unsigned talent today. Loving the T-shirt, man. What's going on,
What's
Buttercup? How
up,
you doing?
guys? Doing well. Yourself?
Doing well. It's been a long time since we've talked, man. How you doing? Everything good?
Um, yeah, doing well, man. Can't complain. Another
Yeah.
day, another another show to steal, another groundhog event.
Okay.
So
Okay. And that's kind of been a theme for you throughout your career, Papa Don. Stealing the show, definitely being the match that everybody kind of walks away talking about in a way. What's the secret sauce there?
it's my superior Greek genetics, and it is my ability to absorb everything I see, hear, and watch as a sponge, and also the ability to adapt to my surroundings and work every wrestling style out there and not be afraid to be a little Shakespeare and not all be all athlete and vice versa. Be versatile. Basically, it's my passion, man. If you're a fan and you really love this, you're gonna, the cream rises to the top. So,
Can
Well,
I say this and all, Brady? I just
yeah, go ahead.
and Papadon, I'm going to say this to you and all. I think it's a travesty personally. I think it's an absolute travesty of justice that you're not signed to one of the big companies. Period. End of story. Like just watching, oh my gosh, watching your work in the ring is just incredible to entertainment. Like your ability to interact with a crowd, to keep everybody invested, your ability with just wrestling wise as well. I apologize. I'm not trying to blow you up here and all, but I just wanted to give. I've been asking Brady to get you on because I wanted to give you my, a little bit of your flowers that you deserve.
well, listen, I appreciate your kind words, and from your mouth to someone's checkbook in the national companies, may it happen. Listen,
Yeah.
I've been doing this now for 20. In July, I'll be 26 years, right?
Wow.
And
Wow.
in 26 years, I've seen people come, I've seen people go, I've seen people believe in their own hype, and I've seen people get complacent because they think they are God's given gift to this industry. This industry stops for no one. But at the same time, if I took myself away from the table, I'll never get my winning hand. God has not given me the opportunity yet to achieve the success that I think I deserve. And according to your words, I deserve. And according to many other people, both fans, wrestlers, promoters alike, I deserve, but all in due time. So if it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, then it wasn't in God's plan for me to get there. So
Oh, it's interesting stuff. I think it's the right attitude for sure. Now, you did do a bunch of shots with AEW over the years. I know when they were doing the Dark program, you were pretty regular on there. Did you see a bump from that kind of stuff?
we mean like see a bump. What's a bump?
Like more interest from the general
Well,
audience, not that kind of bump.
I know, I'm kidding. Uh,
That too, though. No.
well, look, interest from the general audience has always been there.
Okay.
When I did AEW, I was. It's weird because even if you're wrestling a heel that's on their roster, the heel's going to get cheered because he's from TV. So it's almost like a catch-22. So I wrestled the first time I went there. I was there 3 times. I went there
Yeah.
once during the pandemic, where I teamed up with oh, I'm sorry, oh, Sean Maluda, and we wrestled the Dark
Okay.
Order. And the Dark Order was heels turning faces at that time, tweeners, if you will, and they were getting cheered because they knew them
Yeah.
and they didn't know us. We had a great match. The agent of the match, people watching the match, the Dark Order themselves loved it. Got nothing but great feedback.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. A year later, I'm sitting there, haven't heard back from them, reached out. Lo and behold, they're like, hey, we need you in DC for these 2 dates out of nowhere. Can you be
Okay.
here next week? Sure, I'll be there. So I do the 2 dates. The first night I wrestled Lance Archer. Him and I, again, he's a heel. I'm supposed to work face. He's getting cheered because he's from TV. I got some recognition because people knew who I was. We had a great match, and he was very giving. He didn't have to give me any offense, but he gave me a lot of offense, and we had a very entertaining match, in my opinion, and everyone loved it. Agents, people, same thing, same song and dance. That following night, I didn't have a match on the card, and there was like a 6-man tag. They couldn't find the third person, and for some reason, the third person was up in the bleachers just chilling, not realizing that he had a match or whatever. So
Oh wow.
in the meantime, in the between time, I'm like, yo, I'll work his spot if you guys want me to. So they put me in the match, and then he shows up, and I get taken out the match. And then Brian Cage is like, hey, Pops, you want to work me? Yeah, sure, bro. Let's dance. So I wrestled Brian Cage that night. Again, very generous, very giving. He was with Nana, my former manager, my friend. And again, they were supposed to be the heels, but they're getting cheered because they're from TV. So get acknowledgement from the fans who knew who I was. We had a great match. And again, got touted for my abilities, got touted for my the matches that I had. Told them, hey man, what do I need to do to get a contract?
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want a contract. I want to get signed. They're like, it's not up to us, it's up to TK. And there's no formula. If he likes what he sees, or he happens to be in a good mood, or he happens to look at the screen while you're doing something and he likes it, he'll sign you. He goes, well, guy, we'll have you back. I said, all right, great. Okay. And I haven't been back. So,
wow. Well, go ahead, Ryan.
No, that frustrates me. And I know, look, I get it. You know, there's probably 1,000 people who are like, you know, give me my shot, give me my shot, give me my shot. And I can't say I've seen all of them. Honestly, I haven't. But like, to see someone of your caliber, it angers me, because they would be the perfect spot for you to have your talents maximized. I feel like if Paul called you tomorrow, would you go there? Of course. But I feel like if that happened, you wouldn't have the same impact with them that you would have maybe either like a TNA or an AEW, you know, just because, well, I guess it's a little different now that Vince isn't there. You know, Vince would only want people who are like 6'7", 6'8", you know, 350 pounds to be the main, you know, people. But it just angers me. I'm sorry. It just frustrates me.
Listen, you're preaching to the choir, and it frustrates me because 99% of the roster that's at AEW, I've done wrestled in my career, and I'm friends with the majority of them. Guys in WWE, I've done wrestled in my career. Guys in TNA, I've done wrestled in my career. But the point is this: day one of wrestling school, when I joined the LIWF Doorhouse, I was told this business owes you nothing. Nothing is guaranteed. If you think this business is going to love you back the way you love it, do not bother learning how to wrestle, because that's not going to be the case. And I've taken that mantra and I've kept it in my back pocket. And ever so often, I remind myself about it when time gets tough. Does it eat away at me? At times, yes, I'm not going to lie. But again, I also look at it as that I've been flying under the radar, honing my craft to where if they say, hey, we need you on a spot tomorrow on TV in this main event match or in any TV match, we need you to deliver. I know in my black heart that I can deliver because I'm confident in what I can do. And I'm confident that I can wrestle anybody. I have wrestled people who don't even speak Spanish. I mean, who don't even speak English, only speak Spanish, you know, to the point where luchadors, you know, and I've done wrestled people left, right, all over this country, all over this world, and given them great matches. Some people, the best matches of their career. And, you know, it might sound a little cocky of me, but again, I'm confident in what I bring to the table. I mean, look, at my age, I'm 47 years old, dude. I don't feel 47. I don't look 47. I'm in great shape. I can talk with the best of them. And on top of that, I can outwork all these young kids who are slapping their legs and doing spots left and right and no selling and not making an emotional connection with the fans. I get in that ring and make the emotional connection. That's all it's about. I make those moments and I give the
Yeah.
people their money. Whether they love me or hate me, depending on if I'm a good guy or a bad guy, it doesn't matter. They know that I know that when they leave the show, they're going to be talking about me for sure. And it's always 10 out of 10 times the case. So if someone doesn't hire me on a national stage, it's also their loss too. That's the way I'm looking at it. And it might be a little messed up to say, a little quote unquote cocky to say, but hey man, I know what I bring to the table. I know what I can do. You tell me you want A, B, and C, I'll give you A, B, and C. You want 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, XYZ, XYZ. Whatever you need, you got it. So
I do think there's definitely a difference between confidence and cocky, and you're confident. I mean, sometimes maybe you border on cocky, but you're confident. You know what you're capable of delivering.
when I'm cocky, it's all character.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
Jimmy, me,
I didn't want to say that. Yeah,
that's okay. Demetrius, me, that's confidence. So
Yeah.
when you see me talking my trash, that's Papadon talking, and
Yeah.
I don't, there's a difference between the two, so it is what it is. And the fact that I can go, I can go in the ring, no problem. Don't get blown up. Ask all my opponents, like, dude, how come you're not tired? I don't know.
Yeah.
5 minutes playing Legos with my boys, I'm huffing and puffing. So,
Well, yeah.
it's weird.
I love it though, and this might blow some people's minds, but I'm 47 too, Papadon. You'd probably never know it.
No, I did not know that.
They had no idea exactly. But I gotta think back to AEW Dark, and I hate to dwell on them, but had that come around 20 years ago, when you were 27, that outlet wasn't there. But I feel like your age has got to play a little bit of a factor in that when companies are
only if people are, what's the right word, ageists, I guess
Well,
whatever,
yeah,
like
okay.
sexist, ageist, or whatever, or because let's face facts, I don't look 47.
No.
I am in great shape. I'm not, no concussions, no injuries. I work out 5 to 7 days a week. I hardly drink. I don't do drugs. The fact that I can go out there and run circles around all the 20 and 30-year-olds is a testament to my professionalism. But more importantly, I know I have a family to support. I know what lies ahead if an opportunity is blown because of the lack of opportunities that I have. So I savor any opportunity that I can achieve so much more so they could put their faith into me and know I deliver without any remorse or any thought of me screwing up and
Okay.
blowing whatever plans they have if they want to put a rocket ship behind my back or whatever the case may be. Because let's face facts, kids make mistakes. I'm not a kid, I'm a grown man. And the best thing about it is I know how to work. Big difference between wrestling and working. I know how to work. Working is a dying art. It's a lost art. A lot of people today on the independents know how to wrestle and call a match from A to Z. I know how to work. I go out there, I can call nothing and still deliver. So, I mean, again, I have all the cards and I can deliver. It's up to them when they want to give me an opportunity, whoever it may be.
I know a couple of years ago you kind of made a decision to get out because you were working a few different companies in the area, I know. And at some point you kind of decided, I'm going to get out there more. I'm going to travel. I'm going to, actually go to as many different places that I can and wrestle. And I know that worked for you for quite a while. This listener specifically wants to know, did you have a favorite place to work? Was it when you came home to New York, or was there anything else?
I love
Anywhere
working.
else?
I love working anywhere. It doesn't matter. There's no place where I get booked and I go, oh, I hate going there. If I don't want to be there, I won't be there. My favorite match is my next match. And that's always going to be the case. Because my next match, I will learn something. And that something I would learn makes me a better performer from my prior match. And so on and so forth and so on and so forth. And that's how I hone my craft. And that's how I continue to grow as a professional wrestler, as a performer, as a worker. So, yes, I still work in Virginia. I'm actually going to be there on their next show in July 19th. I was just there this month where I wrestled a gentleman by the name of Techno, and devoured him. And like Flair says, squashed him like a grape to earn the number 20 spot in their Liberty Lottery Battle Royal. And the winner of the Battle Royal, of the 20-man Battle Royal, so I got the lucky number 20, the winner gets a shot at any title in their company. So the odds favor of me becoming a 2-time VCW, Virginia Championship Wrestling, Virginia Heavyweight Champion is very, very, very promising. So if I were you, I'd bet the house on GGP.
I love it. I love it. Kind of along the same lines, is there a favorite opponent for you over the years, or is it?
I've had a few.
One? Okay.
And my next one is always my favorite opponent, but I've had a lot
Yeah.
of people I like to work with. Tony Nese is one of them.
Yeah.
Josh Daniels is another one. He doesn't wrestle anymore, unfortunately. Is another talent here in New York, Jorge Sante. He's a good wrestler. I've had good chemistries and good matches, and I enjoy working with him. Amazing Red, Homicide. I liked working with Samoa Joe. I liked working with Punk, Bryan Danielson. I mean, so many people. But those. Oh, Sean Carr. He's another one that I like working with. Who's in the same boat that I'm at. Who I think should be on a national level because he's that damn good. There's another individual as well who's phenomenal. Looks like $1 million, and he's a big dude too. From I believe he might be from upstate. He might even be from Pennsylvania. I'm not sure exactly where he's from, but his name is Bill Collier. Okay. And Bill Collier is another guy who's should be on TV on a national level and is money in my opinion. So I like working with that individual too. So I mean, fact is my next opponent's always going to be my favorite opponent, but there are people that I do have great chemistry with, and those are some of them. So
okay. Just to check, I feel like I'm remembering correctly. I'm trying to remember you ECWA for their heavyweight title. You and Tony Nese did a program, didn't you?
We've wrestled. Correctly. Yes, we've wrestled.
Maybe about 12, 13, 14 years ago. You know, I'm trying to remember because it's been a while.
When I was champ, I wrestled a lot of guys. I wrestled
Kakoa. I remember you wrestled Kakoa.
Yeah, Kakoa. I wrestled Ciampa. I wrestled Adam Cole. I wrestled
Adam Cole. Yep.
You're like a different guy every month.
Yeah, Alex Reynolds, John Silver.
1 month too. Didn't you wrestle Ulala 1 month?
Oh, I think it was in a tag match. He's one of my favorites. Oh, I love me some Ulala.
You know, it's funny. Everybody from this local area, independents, even those who aren't, it's amazing how many people say how they wish they had a chance to wrestle Ulala.
Because incredible. He gets it, quote unquote, it. He understands. It's not about slapping your leg. It's not about doing a flippity doo-dah. It's not about doing a Canadian destroyer and no selling it, but selling a chop. It's about working. And he gets telling a story, and he gets the crowd behind him. And when they get the crowd behind them and you have them in the palm of your hands, it's magic. Yeah. Again, it's a lost art.
You know, we're talking ECWA, and obviously you were, to this day, you're the longest reigning ECWA heavyweight champion in history. I'm sure that's a sore point for you because I'm sure you'd still love to be there. Looking back, how magical was that time for you in the ECWA?
It was great. It was great because I had a great feud with Chris Wilde. I had great feud with Kakoa. I had great matches with some of the people I just mentioned. Storytelling to the point where I got so over as a heel because I guess they found me entertaining that I automatically became a face, and organically it was awesome. I loved you know, the locker room. I loved everybody that worked there, from putting up the ring to the fans, to the boys and the girls in the locker room, to the security, to everybody. And it was a great time. And I want to say thank you to Joe Zanoli and Mike Tartaglia and everybody else who gave me the opportunity to actually put me in the ECWA Hall of Fame. Like you said, the longest reigning champion. Would I like to go back to ECWA? Sure. If the new owner, I believe his name is Ryan, is willing to do some business, I'll be more than happy to come back. I think someone that I'm a very big fan of, Darius Carter, is their champion now, or am I mistaken?
Well, he was up until the last show. Now LA
Oh,
Vin is it?
okay, LA Vin.
Darius was a champion for a while.
Yes, he was,
And
and
there's
he's also a great talent.
He is actually. There are a lot of similarities, I think, between you and Darius in terms of the way you conduct yourselves, the way you tell a story, and your persona. I know with Darius, a lot of people are intimidated to approach him because of how he comes off on these shows. I would assume that's been the same for you throughout a lot of your career.
So I've heard, but at the end of the day, when I hear that, I chuckled, because then I say, man, the fuck. I'm sorry. Can I curse or no?
That's okay. You're fine.
Yeah, drop all the fucking F-bombs you want to fucking drop.
That's when I say, man the fuck up and stop being a little bitch boy. This is a business for men. You know what I'm saying? If you're scared to talk to somebody or approach somebody, then you're in the wrong business, because this business, believe it or not, this industry, this sport of kings that was invented by the Greeks, my people, the fact is, people can see through the BS, through all the smoke, the mirrors, the hoopla, and they can see organic talent. They can see passion. They can feel it in the atmosphere, the aura, the sensation.
Yeah.
So if you're, like, for example, if you're scared to talk to somebody in the back because you're intimidated, how are you going to wrestle that individual in the ring? You won't be able to. And that's another problem we have in today's wrestling scene. A lot of the boys and girls have never been in a real fight in their lives, because everyone's worried more about their feelings, and they're all a bunch of entitled snowflakes that they say, all right, I'm just going to go in the ring and become a professional wrestler, but they've never been in a real fight. And that's why some of it looks so hokey today, because let me kick you in the face 30 times and sell it, but as soon as I hit you with a chop and it makes a loud sound and I hear a reaction from the fans, I'll sell that to play to the fans, and then the fans become the puppet masters instead of the boys or the girls in the ring being the puppet masters and controlling the fans. And that is a big no-no. So you can't emulate combat sport if you've never been in a real fight. That's like having Helen Keller teach you how to drive. It just doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you talk about making it feel real. It felt very real, and my ear rang for about 3 weeks after you slapped me that time. It felt real.
Can we get you to do it again to him, please?
I've never been in a fight. You should know.
My envelope was a little thicker that night, so let me just. I'm kidding.
Mine was a little thinner than I expected.
Well, listen. Look. I mean, you've heard the saying, wrestling is like ice cream, many different flavors: vanilla, chocolate, strawberry. Right? My flavor of choice is reality and believability. I told you before that one of the mantras that I always look back on is that the business owes me nothing. Right? Another mantra that I keep near and dear to my heart is one of Johnny Valentine's saying, they may not believe wrestling is real, but they're going to believe I'm real. And that's a fact. I go into that ring, I'll hit you hard in safe places, and I'll be a professional. But when I leave that ring, people are going to be like, oh my God, he killed that guy. Oh my God, they hated each other. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't see one leg slap.
I remember some of those matches that you had, and all you were saying with some of those opponents, and there were a couple times where you hit some like a pile driver or something, but it looked like it looked like you killed somebody. I mean, it looked, even though it was a simple enough move in theory, it looked like you murdered somebody, and you're just like, oh shit.
Well, thank you. I mean, again, worker knows how to work, different than wrestling. Wrestling. You could teach a monkey or a dog or a bear to wrestle. Working's a different story. So I take pride in my ability to adapt to my surroundings and give the people their money's worth and make that emotional connection and be the best worker that's not signed today.
Can I just say, I love the fact that you said that, like that you said that emotional connection, like to me, like that, when as someone who just, I'm of the, even though I've been in the business and all a little bit here and there, I still am a fan at heart. And
we all are.
Exactly. And I look at it from the standpoint of I'm suspending my belief for that night, because I love the jerk offs who are always want to be like, oh, wrestling's fake. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know what wrestling is? Wrestling is a story. Wrestling is a bit of entertainment that you suspend your belief and you enjoy. And when you have that invested in it, and that's where I'm gonna get to, is when you feel invested, like you said, having that emotional connection. My God, it just makes it so fun. Like whether it's giving Finnegan a hard time because you're the heel. And he counted a 2 and 3/4, and the face kicks out. But we want to support you, so we're giving him a hard time. Like, come on, that was 3, Finnegan. Like those kind of things. Like when you're emotionally invested, it's just so much fun because you're not just sitting there on your hands quiet. You're into the story. You're just as much into that story that you're telling as you are, as your opponent would be. I love that.
Oh, absolutely. And quick shout out to John Finnegan, one of the greatest referees I ever worked with. And thank you for your contributions to this business over the X amount of years that you were in it. And it's sad to see you go, but I'm happy you went out on your own terms and you retired at the TWA show. Your contribution to professional wrestling only made this business so much better. So thank you, John.
Yeah. 38 years, by the way. I had no idea it was.
Wow, 38 years?
It's a long time.
Yeah.
Papadon, like, you ever like sit down to watch Raw with your boys and like you see, for example, like Gunther come on the screen, and I think when I see him, I'm like, man, the kind of stuff that Papadon could do with him. They beat the crap out of each other, but it would be an amazing fight. Do you ever look at a guy like that?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't let my kids don't watch wrestling.
Really?
Yeah. Only I'll tell you guys, off air why they don't. They know of it, and they've seen a few of my matches, and they've seen my promos and whatever, and they're like, "Whoa," And I'm like, "That's not your dad. That's Papadon. Big difference. I don't bring that stuff home, and I don't bring my home to wrestling. Separation, church and state." But regardless, yes. People go, if you were going to get signed to WWE tomorrow, who's the first person you want to work with? Gunther, Sheamus, McIntyre, those guys who hit hard and hit, and have great fights. Like 2 guys I pattern my style after. There is a few, but the two guys I really pattern my style after is Regal and Finley. Malenko as well. And Guerrero and Benoit and Saturn and Jericho and, all the mid-carders from the WCW in the 90s and Mysterio, with some of the lucha that I do. Loki, I don't really do much with him. I mean, meaning that... I
just meant like in terms of, sorry.
No, not like him and I came up. We didn't come up together. He was a few years before me, but we came up at the Doghouse together. So he's more of a veteran than I am. But what Loki can do is amazing. Am I as athletic with the flippity doodads? No, not because I can't. I just never tried it. Do I feel comfortable doing a moonsault? No, I don't like going backwards. You'll never see me do a moonsault. But one thing Loki does bring is believability. So from that aspect, yes. But there's also a lot of other people that bring believability to professional wrestling. 2 of my trainers, both Homicide and Mikey Whipwreck, brought believability. Yeah. You see them go, and that's what I try to tell the kids today when they ask me about, hey, you had any advice? Or can you watch my match? Sure, I'll watch it and then I'll tell them, look, do you want me to be nice or do you want me to be honest? And then they were like, oh, we want the honesty. And then I lay it in on them. And I'm not one of these guys to coddle people. I'll tell them, yo, that sucked. This sucked. That was the shits. This was good. That was good. Why did you do this? Maybe you should do things like this instead, and just break things down so it makes sense to them. Then I hear, oh, you're right. You're right. And you can ask so many people that have talked to me in professional wrestling. Joey Conway, he knows what I'm talking about. When I tell him something and he goes, yeah, you were right. You were right. I'm always right. When it comes to professional wrestling, I'm never wrong. I don't know why, but I'm never wrong. And it always pans out. So.
Because you know it. It's in your blood. You feel it.
Hey, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think too, like, I think that even though in the moment they may be kind of sad or angry or frustrated, that you're giving them your honest feedback, even if it's negative. And I always tell people, like, I want that constructive feedback. Yeah, it's going to in the moment feel negative, but the reality is you're helping them in ways they don't even realize. You could just go, oh yeah, it was good, but what is that doing for them? By telling them, work on this. What the hell was that? Why were you doing this? This sucked. That was terrible. Like, you're helping them to light a fire under their asses to go to that next level, which I think is something that maybe in the moment they don't realize. And maybe if they're being honest with themselves, though, years later, honest with themselves, I think they'll realize, man, that feedback helped them to be better.
I hope so. I mean, look, I come from a generation where things weren't sugar-coated and feelings didn't matter. People had a saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt me. So you told me I suck. It may hurt me for a hot second, but I'll use that as motivation to make myself better. So you don't tell me I suck anymore. So, I mean, it's up to the individual if they want to get better from the constructive criticism. And, it is what it is. If they can't handle it, then they're in the wrong business. I mean, the fact is, look at all these coaches from back in the day in any sports. They were hard-nosed, they were hard asses, but they don't make baseball players or football players or athletes the way they used to. Everyone's a prima donna now. So,
It's interesting to me. You brought up Homicide, and I forgot that he was one of your trainers. I see a lot of what he did, and by the way, recently retired, amazing career. But I see a lot of like what he did in you, if nothing else than the presentation. The fact that like you were one intimidating MFer when you came out, and it must have been an amazing experience to train under somebody like that. To learn from him. Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you. That's an enormous compliment. When I started training, it was in June of '99 at the LIWF Doghouse in Brooklyn. I had my first match a month after training on my birthday, July 17, 1999. So this July 17, 2025 is 26 years I've been doing this professional wrestling thing. Training with Homicide was not, it was fun because I was hungry. Yeah. Just as hungry as I am now, to the point where I would work all day on my shoot job. At the time I was working on Wall Street, get to the doghouse around 10, 11 o'clock at night, wrestle till about 2 o'clock in the morning. They would yell at me, Jimmy, get out of the goddamn ring. We want to play Dreamcast or Nintendo 64. We want to relax. We want to smizzle a little. Okay, fine. And they did their deal. And then I came back the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day, to the point where, like, how many people can they say they had their first pro fight 1 month after starting professional wrestling training? Was it the greatest match of all time? No. Compared to my matches now, it was the drizzling shits. But fact is, I hold it near and dear to my heart that after a month they gave me an opportunity to wrestle, and ever since then it's just been a learning process. And it was difficult, not difficult in a way that it was hard. It was hard old school training that you got your ass handed to you, but you had to give it back. And if you didn't give it back, you didn't get the respect. So it wasn't we got to be gentle with the students so we can generate revenue to pay the bills. They didn't care. It was old school. You got your ass kicked at the doghouse, and we weeded out the people who did not deserve to be there. And those who stayed, and those who stayed did their deal. And there's so many of us still wrestling today from the doghouse, like myself, Homicide, Loki, the Hit Squad, Dan Moff and Steve Mack, Azrael, Grim Reaper, Low Life Louis Ramos. These are all 20-plus year veterans, and we're still here, and we're still names, and we still draw. At least they do. I don't consider myself a name, but whatever. I don't want to be cocky, and, I'm just being humble right now. But point being is, there's a reason for that. We all have a passion, and we all loved it. We still do. So.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. And like, again, like you talk about all those names, and like it just never occurred to me that you all kind of came out of the same background,
We'll
which
put it
is
this way.
it's yeah.
I'm sorry, not to cut
No,
you
you're
off,
fine.
but I'm gonna break it down is as follows. There's two
Yeah.
godfathers in Northeast independent wrestling,
Hmm.
right? You have two schools, two branches. You have Mikey Whipwreck and you have Homicide. Anybody who's anybody in the independent wrestling scene from 99 till now came from the teachings of those two gentlemen. So
Okay.
the fact
That
that
makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
the fact that I was trained by Homicide, he's my
Yeah.
trainer. When the doghouse closed because it lost its lease and they didn't have a building, I continued to go to train at NYWC, and Mikey Wickmick took me under his wing and polished me up where I needed the polishing. So I asked Mikey one day, can I tell people that you were my trainer? He looks at me, he goes, if it helps you get a job, kid, sure. I said, okay, well, thank you. So when I tell
All
people I was trained by both, I was trained by both. But again, anybody who's anybody in the Northeast professional wrestling independent scene came from those two trainers. And anybody who's anybody now
Yeah.
that were not trained by them was trained by somebody who was trained by them.
Trained by them. Yeah.
Like Brian
The
Myers.
trade.
Exactly. Red.
Yeah.
So on and so forth.
I
So
mean, what a cool legacy, though, for them to be able to say, they trained the next generation. Now those generations are that generation starting to go into training, and they're training the next generation. But that legacy
that's cool.
comes from them.
oh, absolutely.
Let me ask you this, Papadon. Do you think if someone came to you and said, can you train me to be the best professional wrestler possible? And I'm not saying myself, because God knows I would be the drizzling shits every time.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah.
I'm also a little bit too old to do that kind of stuff nowadays. But if a young pup came to you and said, hey, you are awesome, you are one of the best I've ever seen, train me, even if you wouldn't do it, what advice at least would you give them?
I would tell them to go to a good school and keep their mouth shut, their ears open, and absorb everything as a sponge, or like a sponge. My problem is this. I see a lot of the kids today that want to get into this business, and I said it before. They all have a sense of entitlement. I don't know if it's they're guilty because of the generation they're growing up in. They have easy accessibility with technology. They don't want to work hard. Everything's at their fingertips. But my generation, we had to go above and beyond to do anything, whether it's a paper route, whether it's going to the library to do a research paper, whatever the case may be. But the point is, kids nowadays, they want to learn how to train. And if you're tough on them with some tough love, they break very, very easily. So if someone wanted me to train them, I would have to charge them an exuberant amount of money for my time. And it's non-refundable and it's all up front. And I wouldn't be the person to try to get rid of you. But at the same time, I'm not going to take it easy on you because you paid me. I'm going to be me. And if you can learn from me and become great, cool. Then you'll be a lucky individual because you'll become something. You won't become the best because I'm the best. So you have to, like a Sith apprentice, you have to take out the master and then become the master. But that's neither here or there.
I feel like the fact that your love of Star Wars just makes you that much cooler. But
Well, thank you. And to answer that question that just popped up on the screen, yes, I think it is Crowbar, who's just as equally as Star Wars geek as I am. The conversations him and I have, intense.
Well, I wore my Jar Jar Binks shirt for you today because I knew you were huge.
Of course you would. Of course.
Yeah.
It's touch a heel. I love it.
I love it too. No, it's fantastic. I know, and you obviously have this huge setup behind you here, your own studio of sorts. Tell us a little bit about some of your non-wrestling ventures that you've been up to.
Well, I do a podcast called The New Force Order, all right, the NFO podcast. The logo is basically the NWO logo, but with an F instead of a W. It's a Star Wars podcast between myself, Spiro Antonopoulos, who's a friend of mine, who's also a movie director. He does independent films.
Nice.
But he has been on the podcast as of late for a long time. He's been really disgusted with Star Wars during the Kathleen Kennedy era. And the MVP of the podcast, in my opinion, is Alex Arroyo, who's a doctor. And he does a lot of the New York sporting events, whether it's WWE, TNA, MMA, independent wrestling. And we talk about Star Wars. And we're on all the podcasts. It's not a visual podcast. It's audio. And it's on all the platforms. So you just have to type in New Force Order. We haven't recorded in a hot minute. We used to record every week. We have not recorded, I would say, maybe in about a month. It's just been dead, Star Wars news-wise. The season finale of Andor happens tonight. It's actually going on right now. So I'll watch that, and hopefully we get a chance to record something soon. I used to do the Conspiracy Horseman podcast, which was myself, Big Sal Graziano from the FBI, Stevie Richards from BWO, and Bin Hamin. Now, we were 4 independent wrestlers. We didn't talk about wrestling, and all we talked about at the time was conspiracy theories, quote unquote, which is such a dirty word nowadays. But most importantly, it was always questioning the narrative, never being told what to do, and always be a free thinker. And we would approach things and not tell people, hey, this is right, this is wrong. We'd bring things up. We tell people to do their own research, but this is what we believe. And I think we were flying a little too close to the sun because we got shadow banned hard.
Oh, really?
Are you serious?
Yeah, we got shadow banned and got thrown off all the platforms. Everything got demonetized.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
This was like, I'm sorry.
It's been a couple of years.
I'm sorry.
No, it's been almost like 3 years, I think, or 2.5 years, or something like that, where we got shadow banned and we weren't able to post anything. YouTube take thing down. We got thrown off of Twitch. All the audio podcasts and all the platforms took us all down, and we couldn't do anything. So
that's crazy.
It does suck. We did an episode. The last episode that we did a pop-up episode of the Conspiracy Horseman. The last one we did was when the thing in the mall happened. And supposedly shadow creatures showed up at the mall, and all the cops came. And the big melee down. I think it was in Miami, if I remember correctly. And that was a year and a half ago, or something like that. So the problem is now we're trying to. Stevie's doing well with his own brand, his fitness brand. We don't want to mess up his monetary ventures. Plus, scheduling wise, Ben has his own dispensary upstate. Sal is busy doing Sal things, and I'm busy doing my things. So trying to get us on the same schedule to try to get things out has been very, very difficult to trying to make things work. Maybe one day again, the Conspiracy Horseman will ride, but we'll see.
I forgot. Yeah, that was an amazing show. And, we faced something similar. I remember a couple of years ago, we had Austin Aries on, and all he wanted to do was talk about COVID. And not the COVID stuff that most people want to talk about, but all these theories about, how it originated and why it's there. And, are we handling it correctly? And, but yeah, it's, I feel like since 2016 and 2020, people just don't like it when people have free thought as much.
The problem is with technology being the way it is and everything being convenience, laziness and convenience is the killer of hard work, ingenuity, and people don't want to be bothered. And the fact is, they think because it's coming from a certain source that it's credible.
Yeah.
And it's not. And when they find out that they've been duped, they don't want to face reality that they've been lied to. So it becomes a hard topic to talk about. Not to get down too many rabbit holes here, but I have my own speculations, if you will, that are becoming factual, or I had my own speculations about COVID that are now factual, and other theories amongst other topics. But we'll be on this podcast all night long.
Yeah,
everybody. Hey, who knows? We might generate some problems. But look, again, I'm from the my type of persona is I don't like being told what to do.
Right.
You tell me something, I'm gonna question it. If I can validate it, I'll believe you. Right? If I don't, then I'll find my own result from my own analysis, and that's that. And that's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, that's how science works. That's how the world works. I mean, you think Socrates and Aristotle's, and Pythagoras and all these other ancient Greeks came up with the knowledge they came up with because Gus from the diner told them to sit down and be quiet? No, of course not. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Come on.
Gustav. Yeah.
So you gotta always think outside the box because you never know what you're gonna find. You might put it this way. Let me relate it to wrestling so some of the fans can understand. The spear. The spear was created by accident. DDT, created by accident. One night, Chick the Snake had a front chancery, a front headlock on someone, tripped over his own feet, hit the DDT. Boom, it's born.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I never heard that.
yeah, true story. So, so you never know. You never know. So it's just like I can tell people all the time, you don't ask questions, you don't make mistakes. You're limiting yourself from the ability to learn. Making mistakes is not a bad thing. It's a good thing because what's his name? Thomas Edison, right? The inventor of the light bulb.
Edison himself stole inventions from a lot of people. But
yes, I agree. I agree. Like Tesla.
He learned. Yeah.
But they asked him, how did you found a way to come up with making a light bulb? Because no, I found 1,000,001 ways how not to do it until I found out how to do it. So, you know what I'm saying? Through failure, if you learn something, it's not failing. So.
Greek God Papadon. Amazing time. I knew this wouldn't be a 20-minute interview, obviously, because nothing in your life is 20 minutes, but great stuff. Amazing. I wish
you should ask my wife. She'll tell you that for sure.
Oh, yeah.
30-second man.
Let me ask you this, Papadon. So you mentioned Wall Street. Really? Yourself a massive Wall Street trader kind of thing? Or like you have, obviously I don't want you to go too into detail. It's not people's business, but.
At the time, yeah. I mean, I'm very good with numbers. Not just a pretty face.
That's fucking awesome. That's so cool.
And I draw comic books too. So, and I'm a good dancer. I'm a man of many, many traits.
So so basically you're the modern day equivalent of the Renaissance man.
Sure. If the Renaissance was Greek, yeah.
I mean, a lot of people say that the Greeks were the reasons why the Italians happened.
Well, that's true because if you look at the history books, Romans are just Greeks that migrated to Rome.
That is true.
There's a saying in Italian, una faccia, una razza, which means one and the same, and it basically is. So, if you look at the Roman culture and all the Roman architect and all the Roman
very
gods,
similar to the Greeks for sure.
Oh, Greek.
It's a blatant ripoff of the Greeks. It was like
even their gods.
It is.
Oh, yeah. It is
everything. They just renamed them, repackaged them. It's like going from territory to territory back in the day. Wrestler A became Wrestler X, and Wrestler X became Wrestler 1, 2, 3 over there.
You're Daniel Bryan now. I got you. Yeah,
exactly. So
yeah. Papadon, if people want to kind of keep tabs with you, everything you've got going on, what's your social media like?
Social media, which I hate social media. You could find me on X and on Instagram at Greek God Papadon. Facebook is Demetrius Papadon. The Pro Wrestling Tee store is Pro Wrestling Tees / Greek God Papadon, and the YouTube channel is Greek God Papadon. If you're interested in listening to the podcast, the NFO podcast, that is, it's at NFO_podcast on X, New Force Order on Instagram, and Official New Force Order on Facebook. And you could just type in New Force Order, whatever, on any of the platforms that hold podcasts, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, whatever, and it's there. So
nice.
Before you go, do you have a favorite indie comic?
An indie comic?
Yeah.
Like comic book?
I don't know. That's what Steve wanted to know. I would say like comedian, but
comedian.
that
Yeah,
isn't really what we were. That isn't what we were talking about. But I'd rather that. Yeah.
Well, no. One of my favorite comedians right now. I mean, I've always loved Fluffy. He always makes me laugh.
Yeah.
What's his name? Oh man, Anthony Rodea.
Okay.
He's a Italian dude from Long Island, but he is so funny. He has a special on an Amazon Prime, and
Okay.
he is just hilarious. And coming from an immigrant family, I can relate with a lot of what he says, even though he's Italian and I'm a Greek, but doesn't matter. It makes me laugh because I'm like not even laugh, like almost piss myself because I'm laughing so hard. I'm crying laughing. My wife's like, "Are you okay? I've never seen you laugh this hard." I'm like, "This guy's money." I was like, "Book him."
I almost feel like like comedy, like a lot of other like a lot of other things, it's very easy to walk that line, and like people would easily get offended. But what I love about comedy, man, is it seems to transcend that most of the time. It's one of those things where like, yeah, like you maybe don't like what they said, but you can laugh at it, and everybody can kind of usually.
If you're not laughing, you're not living. So one comedian said that, and I thought it registered with me, and he's like, "You're right. It's comedy. You can say racist jokes, so you could say stereotypical jokes and not be a racist because you're not saying it maliciously. It's all in good fun. And those who get their panties in a bunch about it, they're the type of people that just want to be heard because they've been neglected their whole lives.
Right.
That's the society we're growing up nowadays. And I equate it to this metaphor. It's like taking your child to the store with you to go shopping, and the child wants a package of cookies in the aisle, and you tell him, "No, put it back." And the kid throws a temper tantrum, throws the cookies down, screaming and yelling, and everyone in the supermarket's looking at you, and you cave because you're tired. You're worried about what they're thinking. You're worried if they're going to call CPS. You're worrying about everything. And you tell, "Okay, fine. Just throw it in the goddamn cart. Be quiet." And you cave and you give in. And that is exactly the era we're living in now, because the loudest people online that make the most noise are always the smallest percentage of people in the demographic. And it sucks because people bend the knees to them and it messes it up for everybody else. Do I believe everybody should be treated equally? Yes. Male, female, they, them. Yes, absolutely. Treat people kindly with love and respect how you want to be treated. That's the golden rule. But at the same time, there's limits, in my opinion. Men and women should not be sharing bathrooms. I'm sorry. Men should not be in women's sports. Men and women should not be wrestling against each other. That intergender stuff, I don't agree with it whatsoever. Because as a father of two girls, if any man put their hands on my girl, I'm going to be in jail.
Yeah.
Because I'll kill the motherfucker. And I don't expect. I've turned down bookings where people go, "We're going to make you wrestle this girl." No, you're not. What do you mean, no, we're not? No, I'm not wrestling a female. Well, no, you have to. She's a machine. No, I don't care if she's a machine or not.
Yeah.
I'm not going to wrestle a female because I can't wrestle a female the same way I'm going to wrestle a male. If I get a male and give him a Yakuza kick, and I give a female the same Yakuza kick, and they're selling it the same, it doesn't make sense. Psychologically, it doesn't make sense because men are just built stronger than women. And that's science, not sexism or anything. But at the same time, you're also advocating domestic violence from men hitting women. It's not my flavor of ice cream, so I would never do it. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but that's just me.
I agree.
Can you do mixed tags? Yes, I've done mixed tags in the past. I've done a great mixed tag where I've teamed with a Japanese legend. Okay, you don't have to yell at me. Someone's dog got heated at me.
Right. Quiet your bitch.
I know, right? I gotta tell him to calm down. He got a little pissed off all of a
So
sudden.
I teamed with Chingusa versus Watanabe, who's now known as Evil in New Japan, and Chingusa's student, I forgot her name, but we teamed up, and we had and guy wrestled the guy, and the girl wrestles a girl, and that was it. And then I tried to, at the end, the last spot of the match or something happened where I tried to cheat or something by doing something to the girl and backfired, and it led into a finish or a fall. I don't even remember the who won the match or what happened, but it was a good match. Yeah. But the point is that one interaction meant something because it led to the finish or led to a false finish or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And it was placed in the way to make that emotional connection with the fans. So with that being said, I really don't advocate any male and female fighting.
No, I get it. But, you told a great story with that. We got away from the comedy, and I want to ask you before you go, because you were talking about these comedians and all that. George Carlin, I'm assuming he's one of your favorites. I mean, not just his comedy, but his entire approach to things.
He was a prophet, if you will. Listen, really I love comedy. I love every form of entertainment. Okay. Well, let me take that back. I love action. I love drama. I love comedy. Not big on the rom-coms. Like I've never seen The Notebook. Right. I refuse to watch The Notebook.
You should watch it. It's great.
Get out of here. I'm the same.
Bring it over.
I'm not watching The Notebook.
Listen,
I'll bring it over.
Put it this way. First things first. I love Star Wars. Obviously, my favorite genre of all time. My favorite movie outside of Star Wars is Goodfellas. So that's greatest movie ever made. But as far as George Carlin, loved him.
Mm-hmm.
Big Kevin Smith guy. I love I loved him in Kevin Smith movies. I love Jay and Silent Bob. They're funny as hell. But again,
Dogma, yes or no on Dogma?
Absolutely.
Damn right.
I even liked not Tusk. I didn't like Tusk. I like the other one.
That was a weird one.
With his daughter and Johnny Depp's daughter, with the convenience store girls in Canada. What was that called? Moose? No, not Moose.
Not Road Trip. Oh, what the hell was it?
Road Trip.
You're talking about.
But whatever.
It
was one of his lesser movies according to him. But I liked it because it reminded me of a B cable movie you'd watch back in the day on Cinemax or HBO when you had cable in the 80s. So I like the movie. Yoga Hosers.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. Yeah.
Yoga Hosers.
I've never seen
That's what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good.
Cool.
So anyway, so I love Carlin. Absolutely.
Awesome. Papadon, I think we're about out of time here, but this has been amazing. Ryan, did you have anything else before we close it out?
I guess the only other, thing I would, more of a statement than a question. Ryan, make it happen, buddy. Get Papadon back into ECWA. Get him back there because, he prints money. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Tony Khan, I almost said Dixie Carter as if she's still involved with TNA. But whoever's running TNA nowadays, if you want to make a smart decision, if you want to make money, call this man up and get him signed. Because, I mean, it's just the reality is that you will not regret that.
I appreciate your kind words. Thank you very much. That means a lot to me.
Believe me, I don't say it lately. I say it because you are that damn good and entertaining.
Thank you.
Papadon, you've been an amazing performer. Behind the scenes, you've been a good friend to me. You've helped me out so much over the years. And this interview tonight, I think it's something we're going to be listening back on for a while. A lot of really good stuff coming out of it.
Let me tell you this. Cena's done a million Make-A-Wish things. I got you in my corner, so I think I beat him. We're good.
Okay, cool. And I'm not your Make-A-Wish guy.
I'm kidding.
I thought you were going to say I'm your Make-A-Wish guy.
I was, but I took it back because that would be Papadon.
You're being really nice tonight. Yeah.
Maybe in my old age, I'm becoming a little bit too much of a baby face now. Who knows?
Brady, if I were you, Brady, I'd be like, keep one eye open and all behind your back because Papadon going to give you a big time smack again next.
It's going to be a turn. All right.
Yeah.
He is. Never, he's gonna wallop you on.
Watch your ass. Never trust a Greek.
Papadon, thank you so much for the time here tonight, man.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, Papadon.
Soon. See ya. There you have it. The Greek god Papadon and ladies.